Hello, my name is Sally Ibbotson and I'm a Qigong teacher working mainly online at the moment. I have a history in Chinese medicine. That's my roots. But this presentation is about chronic pain. I had the pleasure and the honor to work in a team of chronic pain specialists during the um, 2000s. And so this is about chronic pain and also about Qigong. I'll just share a presentation. Okay, so inflammation, we all know about it. It's red, sore, and hot. But we never quite know actually when or where inflammation is present in our bodies. It doesn't always present as red, sore, and hot. It can go without us noticing it. Could be that we've walked to the shop and there's a micro tear around the ankle causing inflammation. We may not even register it. We're probably always fighting colds and viruses and some sort of bacteria, either in the gut or on our skin or in the air. However, when we get messages of pain all the time or beyond that which is appropriate to alert us that something's wrong, then we talk about chronic pain or long-term pain. The body-mind, and we'll talk about the process of pain in a minute, is constantly alerting us to a perceived threat. So pain is an alert system to us that something's wrong and that we should take action or not, or stop because we're in pain, something's injured. But with chronic pain, it could say that the body, mind, or the nervous system has got into a habit, and we'll use that word habit a fair amount during this presentation. So this is about how we might be able to regain the choice of response. This is not about stopping pain. Often chronic pain patients have come to accept, and acceptance is also a really crucial part of managing chronic pain, that the pain's not going to go away, but we can perhaps have more choice of response and how to replace that habit that the nervous system or the body mind has got into with another habit. Just like giving up smoking, it's better to take up cycling at the same time, something like that. Okay, so what happens when we're in pain is that fight or flight reaction steps in. Probably you've all heard of fight or flight. It's a very primitive response. Constant pain in this case is the perceived threat. So we are constantly have the potential anyway of being in the fight or flight mode. The message that something's wrong is consistent and constant. So what happens when we're in that mode is that our blood supply goes to the muscles. So not only now have we got pain, but also our blood has gone to the muscles and they've tensed up, ready to either fight or flight. So we've now got pain and tension. Third whammy, if you like, is that the blood supply to the internal organs is limited because it's all in the muscles, or most of it is in the muscles. So they are also crying out for attention, and the body is saying something's wrong here, you know, the liver's not getting enough blood, and so on. The digestion, for example, might be on hold, and so people in chronic pain often have IBS or some similar complaint. And there's definitely fatigue, because if you are in this state for longer than an appropriate time, it's tiring. So fatigue. So letting go of the response requires kindly, regular practice to override the pattern and to challenge neural pathways and their messages. So just emphasizing those words, kindly and regular. Kindly because the pain response is a survival mechanism. If we hadn't had that, we wouldn't be here in evolutionary terms. It alerts us to the fact that something's wrong. So it's a friendly message, even though it may not feel like it. And regular practice, because what we're talking about with chronic pain is a habitual signal. And so we need something equally habitual to override it. It requires kindly practice to override the fight or flight response, so we have a choice as to how to react. And we'll talk about other habits that can be built up to override the fight or flight response, at least, if not the pain. Requires some self-belief and acceptance to replace one with the other, another habit. But the good news is that there's plenty of research on this, people having mastered this art. And so no reason why anyone couldn't do this. Okay. So nerve pathways then, just a little bit more about them. Pain will be the strongest signal if you let it. So pain is something we need to know about in survival terms, and so it will be strong and persistent if we let it, and it will be stronger than joy, beauty, and love, all the things that we have a right to in life. So pain needs to be thanked as it's alerting you to something, and again, the response needs to be kindly but firm and persistent, that your attention should be focusing not only in the direction of pain, but in the direction of the joy, beauty, and love to which you have a right. It was Edmund Jacobson who said that a relaxed body equaled a relaxed mind, and also further that there's no place for a tense mind in a relaxed body. So we'll just do this as a little bit of a practice. If we accept tension, then we are halfway towards addressing it. If we resist it, then we're fighting. So we've set up yet another battle, as it were. If you tense your shoulders for a minute, just lift your shoulders up to your ears. In fact, I'll just stop sharing for a moment. So the Jacobson technique is used in pain management because when we tense, let's use the hands first. If you tense your fists and then release them, and you can have your hands down so that they're kind of relaxed. So tense the fists and then release. And what's happening is that when you release after tension, you relax more than you would have done if you hadn't tensed. Let's do that with the shoulders. It's a little bit more obvious. So if you lift, let me just do it with one shoulder. So if I'm facing on and then I lift this shoulder up to that ear, so it's all tense, and then I drop it, can you see that it's gone down further than the other shoulder? So I'll just do that one to equal out. So this is something, the Jacobson technique, by the way, can be found all over the place on YouTube, and there are many great instruction videos if that appeals to you. I'm not saying that that's the only, we're going to talk about other habits to get into, but the point is that accepting tension and going with it, just as we're going to see, accepting pain and going with it is another way forward other than resisting tension, etc. So acceptance. And so if we were to practice that, or any sort of mindfulness that scans the body, then we start to understand when we're tense, because often, especially if we're in pain all the time, we can go through our days tense and not really knowing it. So we are using energy, using our blood supply without knowing it. So mindfulness is a tool that we're going to look at, as well as other things. And self-soothing as well. But we need a toolbox which is ready to go. So no need to think, okay, I know now how to do the Jacobson technique. when I'm next in pain, I will do it. What we need is something that we're practiced at, and to make a long-term commitment to it, as we'll see. Here we go. So what are endorphins, which are talked about? Here's what they are. They're chemical messengers, endorphins are, and they start the relaxation process. These diagrams here are nerve synapses, the message of the brain, of the nerve, the pain signal, sorry, coming into the brain so that we know about it, as it were, and then referring to parts of the body. These green blobs are endorphins, so they literally block the pain signal. They very rarely do it totally, but they numb it down, or they silence it. They silence it a little bit. They make it quieter. So they halt stress response as well. When you've got plenty of endorphins going through your body, less likely to be stressed. They produce a feeling of well-being. They relax muscles, and they create a habit. There's that word again, a habit of managing well. And they help us focus on an area of comfort. So what's that about? We just scan the body briefly and feel the areas of discomfort, then you will perceive that there are some areas of comfort. So just see if you can go to those places. And we can see that if the pain signal is quietened down somewhat, it's easier for us to get to those places of comfort. And going to places of comfort is another habit, something to do every day to build for times of trouble, if you like. So it's a good habit to get into, is going to the areas of comfort. And then it's a virtuous circle. Going to the areas of comfort means more endorphins come on board. More endorphins come on board, the pain gets less. It's easier to go to areas of comfort. So how else do we get endorphins? Sunshine, or I'd say any weather that's your favorite weather that makes you feel relaxed and happy. Might not be sunshine. Exercise, definitely, especially if it's you've set out to do it for yourself. So we could say that, I don't know, hoovering the house is exercise, but here we're talking about more like going for a walk for the purposes of exercising ourselves, or going to the gym if that's your thing, or swimming with the express purpose of exercising and all that that brings. So purposeful and enjoyable exercise. Meditation or mindfulness, talk some more about that. A lot of evidence there. Massage, so employing the help of somebody else, or simply pleasure. Pleasure from a partner, pleasure from a professional, massage, reflexology, whatever relaxes you. And smiling and laughing also results in more endorphins flooding our systems. Let's take them one by one. So being in nature and extending the joy. So happiness is a habit. How often do we walk somewhere beautiful and say, oh, that's beautiful, and then just walk on? Creating the habit of happiness or joy is a purposeful practice to do daily. Again, to get into the habit of being just a little bit happier or joyful, more joyful than we were before. And so just to do this as a practice, think about something that brought you joy just in maybe the hours before we met here. Could be that you saw a beautiful sunset, could be you saw a child that you love, Something made you laugh or smile. Could be a beautiful sky or a lovely flower in your garden. And if it's first thing in the morning or you haven't had that experience, then just make something up. See in your mind's eye your favorite place, or a fondly remembered holiday venue. And really focusing in on that, extend the joy. So really focus in on it and feel the effect of it, that joyful event, small or large, on your body. Maybe you can feel a little bit freer in your body. Maybe your facial muscles relax or they change when you think about that place. So creating a habit of joy, remembering that we have to try to beat the messages of pain to the brain. It won't happen without our building a habit. Extending the habit of joy is another thing to practice daily. Literally put it in your diary. Do 5 minutes of it now and again. Set an alarm, something. Okay. Use your imagination. We all have an imagination, even though some people think they haven't, but we do all have an imagination. In fact, we need to imagine everything we do before we do it. So everybody has an imagination. Top training coaches use this, it's called integral imaging, to improve the performances of their clients. So people who run through their performance in their minds or mentally rehearse improve their performance over and above those who don't. So we could say that if someone was training a tennis player, it would be advantageous if that tennis player focused on exactly the part of the court where they wanted a serve to land before they even threw the ball up in the air. So professional tennis players visualize the move they're going to make before they make it, because it's been shown that that is more effective. Their performance is better. We can use that. We could say if we can't get out in nature, for example, we can still get the effects via our ability to create internal landscapes. This is slightly different from extending the joy. This is called visualization. And this is literally sitting somewhere, anywhere, and imagining that you're somewhere else. So you imagine, let's just do it for a moment, that you're somewhere, again, somewhere beautiful. It could be known or not known. I'm just going to suggest something, so just making yourself comfortable and pretending that you're in a forest and walking up the forest path, smelling the earthy smell, listening to the wind in the trees or the breeze in the trees. Maybe it's a sunny day, enjoying the bird song, seeing the glitter of sunlight through the leaves, feeling your feet on the path. Make it as vivid and sensual as you can. And as you're doing this, just starting to feel effects in your body, what happens in your body. Continuing to walk along the forest path. You might feel that your heart rate settles down a bit. You might feel your tension ease. So coming back then to the presentation, it's not the purpose of this presentation to go through all the toolbox, if you like. but I'm more than happy for you to contact me for help. But there's another, if that rang bells, then it's something again to do every day to really get that pathway going, that pathway to build the habit of going to that place and getting the response that you want. So 5, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. It's a practice. It's a practice that builds a habit because, I'm saying it again, a habit of chronic pain is so, so strong. Okay. Guided visualization with movement. So this is a little bit, we're coming to talk about Qigong, which is a bit like Tai Chi. It's movement with images and movement in time with the breath. Has the same benefits as being in nature. Recreates a relaxing and beautiful place with movements and breath awareness. That's what Qigong is. So why might we want to try this? Well, sitting meditation has been shown in many, many studies to be beneficial for people with chronic pain. Also for people with tension. It soothes the nervous system, it lessens tension, and therefore it, on a long-term basis, lessens pain. But sitting meditation can be difficult for people who are in pain. Some alternatives, which incorporate mindfulness, mindful walking with the breath. So going for a walk, feeling the feet on the ground, watching the breath as you walk, listening to sounds. So we can just do that for a minute and let any sounds that are around and about you come towards you. Letting sounds take you into the present moment. And again, this can be done while you're walking, just listening to sounds. When we do that, we have the sense of equanimity. So there's no good or bad sounds. We don't want the sounds to be any different. Excuse me. We just practice listening to sounds. Curiosity. So here's another one, another to practice, is to get curious about the sensations in our bodies, just for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Turning towards rather than away from the difficult sensations in the body. And when we do that, we're not resisting, we're not fighting, we're accepting. So we're at home with. We may not be able to do that for very long, but it's a practice. And again, I'm more than happy to say more about that if you contact me. Curiosity as a practice. And Qigong. So all the benefits of exercise without strain. I'm going to say some more about Qigong and do a little bit, and then give you a resource whereby you can join me and do some. Qigong is from the traditional Chinese medicine philosophy, as is acupuncture, shiatsu, tai chi, and herbal medicine, traditional Chinese herbal medicine. There is a link here to Michael Mosley talking in the program Trust Me, I'm a Doctor. And he is having a set of tests done after doing some Tai Chi or Qigong. And they are being compared with the tests of people who've done some aerobic exercise. Tai Chi and Qigong, even though it appears to be very gentle and flowing, it actually increases the markers, increases the flexibility of the capillaries, increases the heart rate, aerobic exchange, all the things that we would want from exercise, Qigong can offer us. So there are on my YouTube channel, and there is a link to that at the end of this presentation. We're going to do some Qigong now. It incorporates integral imaging, focusing on the breath and, of course, movement. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute and stand up. So this is a very short demonstration of Qigong. And there's plenty more to be found on my channel or YouTube in general. So we just stand, easy, soft. And I'm going to do 3 movements to demonstrate. The first movement, in time with the in-breath, we simply lift the hands to shoulder level, and on time with the out-breath, we simply send them down again and carry on doing that. Leave the shoulders down. And imagine that you're pulling something like golden light up from the earth, through the body, then going down to get some more. So we employ the mind. It actually doesn't matter what the image is. It could be you're pulling water up, or your hands are coming to the top of a body of water. Really doesn't matter, but your mind is busy with an image that's natural and hopefully beautiful as well. Just leave the breath as it is, natural in-breath, natural out-breath. Let's do the next movement, following the in-breath up and then taking the hands away from each other, bringing them back together and sending the hands down. So now we might imagine that we're pulling something up from the earth, something beautiful, some color, sending it right out to the hands and then going down to get some more. Let's do separating the clouds. Here we cross the wrists in front of the lower belly. We breathe in, keep the shoulders down, take the hands up and around, all in time with the breath. Following the out breath as your hands come down, following your in breath as the hands come up. And the title of this is Separating the Clouds. So we imagine that we are pushing the clouds away. So we have clear space, maybe blue sky, ready to practice our Qigong. Pushing clouds away. Attracting clarity. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, so that was just a very short demonstration. Most Qigong forms are 15 to 20 minutes long. Practice daily. Once again, you build a habit of what's known as novel exercise. So that's exercise that you wouldn't normally do. It's we don't normally breathe in time with our movement, for example. So it captures the nervous system. It captures it over and above a pain signal. I'm just going to share the screen again. And you can find you can find my classes, you can contact me and I can direct you towards my online classes, or you can find many forms online. Okay, and that is specific to a presentation I was doing. Here's some resources. Vidyamala Birch has been around for a long time, and her practice is recognised by the NHS. She set up the company Breathworks. If you Google that, she's also written books on living well with pain and illness. She's a Buddhist, and she's also a spinal injury patient herself. The Jacobson technique can be looked up. That's the tensing and relaxing. I talked about novel exercise. The person who does that best is someone called Bill Taylor, who talks about chronic pelvic pain. And there's a link. There's much research about chronic pain and Qigong. There's my website. You can find my classes online and a link to a similar form to that which I was showing you. And I recommend the book Full Catastrophe Living by John Kabat-Zinn, who was founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction, and really generous with all the practices that he offers. So main takeaway that I'd like to offer is that chronic pain, we may not be able to stop the chronic pain, but that we may be able to change our response to it. And that requires daily habit, regular habit of some discipline in order so that we have a toolbox of methods that beat the pain to the brain. Daily visualization, daily meditation, daily exercise, daily mindful walking, daily Qigong, whatever it is, a habit is the best thing to get into. Thank you very much.